let's learn about illustration. So to learn about illustration, we need to learn about books. And what is a book anyway? So a book's usually defined as a written or printed work consisting of pages glued or sewn together along one side and bound in covers. It's not always exactly like this, but that's the common definition of a book. A single sheet within a book is called a leaf, and each side of the leaf is called a page. A signature is the large paper that the book's images and words are printed on. Then it's folded up in a special way to put the pages in the exact right order, and then they cut off the extra. So then the pages are in order and folded into the size of the book. The signatures are then sewn, glued, or stapled together to make the book stay in one piece. So this is the basics of book binding and how books are made, but it isn't the illustrator's job to worry about this part. An illustrator makes the pictures for a book. I make illustrations. That's something I do. And as a contracted illustrator for a self-publishing business. The first thing that happens when I'm going to illustrate a book is that the publisher contacts me and says an author's interested in my style, the kind of art that I do for illustrations. She usually sends me a portion of a manuscript. So a manuscript are all the words that are going to go into the book. And she'll just give me a part, like a line that's going to go on a page. And she'll ask me to make a sketch of it, how I would illustrate that page. If the author likes what I did, then we sign a contract that says I'll do my job and they'll pay me for it. Then I get the rest of the manuscript and I start sketching out thumbnail sketches. So thumbnail sketches are tiny little sketches that just give you an idea of what I want to do on the page. It's not detailed. It's not a finished product at all. It's just a little sketch. Some of the pictures go all the way across 2 pages, and that's called a spread. If I design spreads, I have to make sure that there's no interesting parts in the middle of the page, from left to right. That vertical middle, that's called the gutter. And it's the crack between the pages when you fold the book. So you don't want to put interesting stuff there because it's just going to get folded up. If I worked for a bigger publishing house, I would never even get to meet the author. Working for a self-publishing house, the author's the one who pays me. And so I go and talk to them, usually face to face. But if I worked for a big publishing house, I would probably show my work to a boss instead, like a manager, who would then take it to the author when I was completely done with it. We wouldn't have as much interaction for each step. But as a contracted illustrator, I show the author every step. That way they can give me okays. So after I make thumbnails, I get okays for those. Then I start making outlines of each image. Then I add flat colors. And then I add shading. And I get the author's okay after each of this. I wouldn't want them to be unhappy with designs because part of my contract is that I'll fix mistakes up to a certain point and change things. So I want both of us to enjoy what I've been doing. And I wouldn't want them to be unhappy with the finished book. The steps might be different if I was working in a different medium besides digital art. I have done watercolor art before, but mostly I do digital now for a few different reasons. But a painter would have different steps. If you're going to do watercolor, you're going to do your thumbnails and drawings differently because then you're planning to paint them and you can't really go back and fix them the same way I as a digital artist can. The way I work is I have my computer and it has an image software. I use Photoshop and Fire Alpaca. And then I have a graphics tablet which plugs into the computer and it has a pen and I can draw on this little board and it goes into my computer. After I finish my job and I create all the pictures, I give my finished work to the author for just one more check over. And if they say it's okay, then we hand it off to another artist. This artist is called the layout artist and she gets the book already by putting all the words in. So I have to be very sure that I'm leaving enough space for the words for when the layout artist gets it, because it's a big problem. If there's not enough room, I'm going to have to go back and move things around to make room for the words in the book. But anyway, she puts all the words in the pictures together, and she puts the cover together, and then she sends it off to the printer, who prints it, and then the books come back, and everyone gets to see them and sell them. But that's how illustration works for me. Okay, guys. Bye.